racing in your car. Turn on the radio. It's Breakfast with Bob. Hey, Tony, is it okay if we change the station?
Please.
Poncho Man, everybody! We are brought to you by HOKA, Polar, UCAN, Velofix, Normatec, Active, Canyon, Bicycles, Form Goggles, Amp Human, and we'll do our championship edition of Four Seasons Resort, Hualalai. Our next guest, the only guest we have who has won the Indianapolis 500 and also committed triathlete. Give it up for Tony Kanaan.
Thank you.
Legend.
Right, you're a
I
legend.
am not worthy sitting next to Tony Kanaan. Are you kidding? Look how fit you are, man. Half the pros who've been sitting here aren't as fit as you are.
That's
and you're
not
40.
true.
You're going to be 45 in December.
I'll be 45, December 31st. But I mean, you have to be fit to drive a race car. It's especially at my age now. I'm the oldest driver in the field,
Yes.
so to keep up with the young guns, I have to be fit.
When did you start Were you always fit, or was it something that changed as you aged as a driver?
Well, I started racing. I was 8 years old in go-karts, and I was actually this little kid, extremely skinny, and I was struggling to drive the go-kart. So Dad actually put me to swim right away so I could get stronger, because at 8 years old, you cannot go to the gym and pump some iron, right?
No.
So I started like that, and yes, so I fell in love with being fit, but it was always with one purpose, to be able to drive the race car, right? It was always about my career. And as the years went by, one day one of my coaches says, well, you already swim, you already run, and you're on the bike, so why don't you do a triathlon? And that was 20 plus years ago, and I fell in love with the sport.
So in 2011, you were here.
I got an
doing this
invitation.
race.
Yeah, I got an invitation from Ironman to do this race. It's a cool story, because growing up as a kid, the race that I always wanted to win as a race car driver was the Indy 500.
Of course.
And then I actually promised myself that I was never going to attend the race if I was not going to race, right? So I was not going to go there watch. I was not going to spectate. If I was going to go to the speedway, it was going to be to race. The same thing I said about Kona. I'm not going to Kona until I get a chance to race. Obviously, I'm not a good enough triathlete to qualify, but Ironman was kind enough.
Yes.
We obviously did a cross promotion with
Right.
Indycar to try to get more awareness of people about triathlon and everything. So in 2011 was my first time at the island, my first Ironman ever, and my only one so far.
So you've done one.
One, that's it.
Wow, and 12:52.
Which
40,
is
which
you
is
know, which is bad.
Oh,
But-
come on.
So Bob, what was amazing at the banquet, right, on Sunday.
Yes.
Sunday night, I'm sitting there and watching all the pros getting their awards, and all the age groupers.
Yes.
My time was good for top 5 from 70 to 74. So I think if I keep doing the same time until I'm that age,
And
I'll
you'll
be good.
You'll be good. Exactly. When you won Indy, I mean, you've been racing, like you said, since 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
How many times had you raced Indy before you won?
So it was 12 times I tried.
12 times.
Before I won.
So you can
Yeah.
relate to a Mark Allen and guys like that
Oh,
who came
big
here
time.
over and over and then finally got it.
Big time, and that's why when I try to talk to young kids that are coming up, not just in racing but triathlon,
Right.
in any sport, it's persistence. I actually finished the Indy 500 second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, eighth, and I had a couple DNFs before I won. So it took me 12 years to do it, but we did it.
When you did win it, did it change your life?
100%. I mean, that was something that I feel extremely fortunate to be able to accomplish, right? I mean, everybody has a dream, and not a
Sure.
lot of people can actually achieve that. And I had a dream to be an IndyCar driver. I became one, and then I had a dream to win the Indy 500. It's a race that was extremely important to my family. My dad was a huge race fan. We used to watch that race when I was a little kid every Sunday, every year. And Dad actually was the one that got me into racing. But when I was 13 years old, my dad passed. And he made me promise him before he passed. He had cancer for a while, and says, one day you are going to win the Indy 500 for me if I'm not around. And I promised him that. So it was extremely, extremely emotional for me. And it changed my life. It changed my career. I was in a point that I was thinking about retiring.
Yeah.
I had, after 12 tries, you're like, you know what? I had a good fare.
I won a lot of other places.
I won a lot of other places. And, I won in 13. And here we are in 2020, almost 2020, and I'm still in IndyCar.
And back then, were there guys 45 years old still racing, or not really?
No. Actually, it's funny because if you think about it as a pro, you just had Crowy here. He's one of my heroes, and watching him, when I actually 2011 when he won, I was here, obviously participating, and then we. It's not common that you see a pro last that long. Right. So I'm actually one of the few. The youngest. I'm the oldest guy by I think 4 years.
Are other guys? Are the drivers fitter now?
Oh yeah, and I would push each other. You know what I mean? For sure. Eventually people see how long I was able to length my career, keeping it fit, keeping it healthy. So now everybody does it. I have a teammate that actually, my teammate's 21 years old.
Yes.
The year that he was born was my rookie year in Indycar. And actually, I brought him here for the first time. He's
coming here to see this.
He's here. He's training with me. He just last year I got him a bike, and I actually signed him up to Miami Man. He didn't even know, and I said, "Hey, you're doing this race with me," and he was not prepared. But yes, all the drivers nowadays, and we copy each other, right? We're
if
like,
someone's having success.
He's faster on the bike. I want to be faster than him. He's running faster than me. So yes.
Now, is there battle at all between? Because Jimmy Johnson is the NASCAR guys. Is there much smack talking?
All the time.
All the time.
All the time. Lando Casso, it's another NASCAR driver that does triathlons. I just actually sent him a message because he was contemplating to come to do Kona next year. So I said, hey, let's do it.
You guys head to head.
Exactly.
NASCAR against Indycar.
Exactly.
I like that. Now, you also said you had a double secret weapon, which was UCAN, one of my sponsors.
Yeah.
But you didn't want other people to know about it.
No, it's a funny story because I used to deal a lot with cramps. And if you think about the race car, it's not like a triathlon. You cannot hydrate. You cannot take a gel. You cannot.
No.
Yeah.
How
Let
do
alone
you?
to drink it at 240 miles an hour, it's actually not an easy task, right?
Oh my
so
God.
we have this little camelback in the car.
Yes.
But, the car is so small. It's a single-seater. It's an open cockpit. And the way we do it, we have the camelback with actually just a line that goes in through the helmet. But the bag has to be in the front of the car because we have a lot of weight distribution is extremely... So you're talking about a gallon of fluid.
Yes.
They have to place in a specific part of the car. Otherwise, it changes the balance. So the line runs through between me and the radiator that runs at 120 degrees. So by the time it gets to my mouth, it's actually a hot tea.
Yeah.
So we don't drink a lot. So I found the product, found UCAN through a coach of mine, and I started taking an hour before the race. My cramps stopped. So I've been using it for 9 years. Never told anybody.
Of course, it's a secret.
Always bought the product. Never really actually reached out to them. And then this year, Theo posted that he just had reached a deal before the Ironman.
Yes.
With UCAN. And I made actually a comment on his post saying, hey, man, I've been using this for years. You're going to love it. Then Peter reached out to me, and so now we actually were partners.
That is so cool. And how has your training changed? Are you want to do Ironman next year, maybe?
Maybe.
But do you mainly do shorter distance races?
Yeah,
doing more training.
70.3s. It's
70.3s.
actually, for me, especially with the time that I have between my racing season, my 4 kids, and training, it's the perfect distance for me. Obviously, the short ones we try to do over the year, but it's easy, the sprints and the Olympics. Yeah. So for me, I'm more of the 70.3 guy. Like I said, I only did one Ironman, which was here. I'm getting the itch. HOKA is a huge sponsor, a huge supporter of Ironman. We've been talking about maybe getting something together for next year to come back. I'm here every year. I try to come here every year just to watch the race and enjoy. But we'll see. But I'm training like a maniac. I'm training like crazy every day. So
what is your training? What do you do?
So basically, I train 3 times a day. I usually wake up around 5 a.m. I hop on my bike on Zwift. I do a couple hours there. Take the kids to school. I go to the gym, which the gym is for the race car, right? Do some core, some neck exercise, some shoulders. Around noon, I try to actually sometimes swim or go for a run. In the afternoon, I do another bike ride. So you are basically a professional triathlete. It's a 25-hour week.
25-hour training week.
Training week, yeah.
And when the other drivers hear that, are they like, "Oh my God, I can't believe
intimidated.
Old Man River is doing that old
So bring it on." So they're intimidated by it, which is a good thing.
What was the feeling like? Because you're a guy who's won the Indy 500. There's millions of people all over the world coming down Elite Drive.
Bob, I have to say, it's when you're in the race car and you're in a race, you have your helmet on, your earplugs. You don't hear the crowd, right?
That's right.
You see commotion, but you don't really get to like interact.
Right.
I have to say, obviously, I crossed the finish line here before I actually had won the Indy 500, right? And up until this day, I think this moment it tops even that win.
Really?
With the energy, with the people cheering my name, with, I think in a way it's because racing cars, it's what I do.
Right.
So winning for me, it's natural. It's something that, I'm supposed to do.
Right.
Here was just me, right? And if I had a bad day, it's because of me. And then it was a huge accomplishment for me. And then, I mean, I'm not the type of guy that get extremely emotional, but I mean,
Right.
crossing that line, I was crying. It was something that. It was a feeling that I don't think I can describe, and then it was not the same feeling when I won the 500.
Besides winning Indy,
Mm-hmm.
what do you look at as a high point in terms of your racing career? In terms of a race that meant a lot, maybe a race that told you I can be one of the best.
Well, I would say my first win in Indycar was it was actually a 500-mile race in an oval.
Yes.
And it was my second year. I just had became a rookie of the year, and it was one of those things that you have to prove yourself. People think you're good, but they're going,
show
hey, he's in second year. He hasn't won yet, and we had an issue. I went a lap down, and I passed everybody twice, basically, and won that race. So I think that the first one you never forget, but also it's because that made me. Then people said,
Right.
okay, this guy is the real
He's
deal.
good. Do you have rivalries in race car driving?
Oh,
Is there
yeah.
a
I mean, we
particular
have-
person who
we have-
you want to beat more than another guy?
We have plenty, and I've grown up with Hélio Castroneves, which is another
Yes.
Brazilian guy that won the Indy 500 3 times. We raced.
And he doesn't let you forget that.
No. But I won a championship, and he never did.
Oh!
So we grow up together.
Yes.
We raced from go-karts all the way to IndyCar. So 29 years
You've been racing him.
racing against each other. We went head-to-head in 12 championships. I won 9, and he finished second 9 times. But he won 3 Indy 500s, and I won 1. So we actually went through this huge, feud a few years back. We didn't speak. Well, I mean, we grew up together, Bob. We were kids, and we were really good friends. And for 3 years, we didn't speak.
Yes.
And eventually we both had kids. We both grown old, and now we're extremely good friends. He's a dear friend of mine, and we laugh about the stuff that we push each other so hard that I said, by him hating me and I hate him, it made us better.
Exactly.
And so that's the biggest one.
I'm not a math major, but I think 9 is better than 3.
That's what I tell him all the time.
Right?
9 is a lot better than 3.
Exactly.
So.
How about a round of applause for our main man, the fastest guy on the island, Mr. Tony Kanaan.
Thank you.
Pancho Man.
Listening in your car, I turn on the radio.
You know there is no radio, right?
With Bob and his morning show.
Oh, that was good. Yeah.
I meant iPod.
Here we go.
You need to have like a little 8-track player.